So one of the richest men in the world and one of the richest men in China, Jack Ma, has gone missing, and a lot of people are just confused on the entire situation. It's been pretty weird because, barring pretty much one big situation, there isn't really much that people know of that could really have been causing this disappearance. Now this is like a months-long saga, right? It's really confusing. There's only one realistic situation that could have unfolded that we know of, and there's a lot of speculation going on and whatnot about the entire situation. If you don't know who Jack Ma is, he is a billionaire. He is actually one of the richest people in the world. His fortune is estimated at around $58.4 billion. He is the co-founder of Alibaba Group, which is an e-commerce giant at this point, and he's been known for his outspoken behavior, some of the things that he says, which actually potentially could be the reason that he's disappeared. So everything's been kind of confusing. He has disappeared after he called for economic reform on October 24th in a speech in Shanghai, China. He was quoted as saying, "Today's financial system is the legacy of the industrial age. We must set up a new one for the next generation and young people. We must reform the current system," calling for sweeping changes to the economic process that the world is basically dependent on today. Now, keep in mind that Jack Ma lives in China, right? Okay, and if you know anything about China, you know that the government there is quite overbearing, to say the least. The Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, has been accused of or blatantly has been caught in multiple, countless, honestly, human rights violations. Civil and human rights are degraded, if not non-existent, in China. The government pretty much watches everything that people do. The internet there is censored. It's hard for companies to grow there without being directly influenced by the Chinese government or having the constant threat of the Chinese government starting to get involved in the whole process. And that's where a lot of people are starting to, I guess, point fingers, okay? Because the Chinese government has been known for their, I guess, very brutal tactics in how they handle things. To be honest with you guys, the Chinese government, they don't play around when it comes down to things, man. I mean, once they have figured out something has been said or done that they dislike, they take action, okay? And there's not usually a warning. So right now, the leading conspiracy theory, or I guess the leading theory on this whole subject, is that the CCP may have kidnapped or silenced Jack Ma in order to shut him up, basically, about economic reform, because, well, I mean, obviously, if you have a billionaire coming out talking about, oh, we need to do all this, we need to make all these sweeping changes, all these crazy changes should come to the economic system, and you live in a country where the economic system is, once again, either directly influenced by the government or is constantly under the threat of being under influence by the government, that's not something that they're typically going to want you to say. When you got a regime that's kind of running everything and they don't want people like this saying stuff like this, they're going to take action. Now, of course, nothing is confirmed when it comes down to this story and this situation here, but Jack Ma has not tweeted publicly in months. And he was also supposed to take part in the November finale episode of his show Africa's Business Heroes, which is a competition for African entrepreneurs, but was replaced by an Alibaba executive. And this is obviously just days, if not weeks, after the entire speech that he gave about economic reform. Now, let's just say this here. If the CCP did do something to Jack Ma for speaking out about economic reform, I'm not sure that he's dead, but I mean, there is, I guess, a possibility, right? Now, I think it would be pretty obvious to anyone, right, if, they found this guy dead or something crazy happened, which God forbid that honestly happen. Like, that would genuinely be terrible, and we genuinely do want to wish for the best in this situation, but if they did do something drastic like that, it would be pretty obvious, you know what I'm saying? To the average person, I think, with critical thinking, like, you'd be able to look at that situation and be able to see that something's a little fishy. It wouldn't be like, people wouldn't be able to kind of, piece things together and figure that whole thing out there. That would be, I would say, pretty obvious. So the thing is no one can really do anything about it, right? Like, if the CCP really did do something to Jack Ma for speaking out, which, once again, unconfirmed, it's basically conspiracy theory at this point. If they did do something to him, like, who's going to do anything? First and foremost, like, is a foreign government going to step in? No, of course not. You think out of everything that's ever happened, right, that, like, the thing that's going to start war between China and the United States is Jack Ma getting fucking whacked by the government? No. The US doesn't care. If anything, that's just a leader of a foreign company that just, goes against American companies. So the US government really probably doesn't have an incentive to care at all in that situation. But then on top of that, like, are the people in China going to do anything? Once again, most likely not. I mean, I get that Jack Ma is like a huge business magnate and he's, probably revered and looked up to in China for his accomplishments, like maybe in the way that Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg are looked up to here in the United States, but it's not something that people I think are going to take to the streets over and actually do anything about. I might be wrong about that. Maybe this is, I guess, the pushing moment in that whole situation, but it is also entirely possible that he's just stepped out of the public spotlight for a while for whatever reason, okay? I mean, people do this all the time. Celebrities do this all the time. They step out of the spotlight. They, tend to their personal lives a little bit more. Maybe that he's spending time with family. Maybe he wanted to spend the last few weeks or whatever of 2020 surrounded by, his people. But if that were the case, I think that he probably would have come out and confirmed that he's okay by this point, right? Because, this is just me, of course, but if I'm taking a break or whatever and I don't really announce anything and people are like, oh, did he get kidnapped? He just kind of up and disappeared. I would probably at least tweet or put something out to kind of let people know that I'm doing okay. Jack Ma has yet to do that. Now, I mean, he possibly could do this after the video comes out or whatever. I have no idea, but as of right now, he's been pretty much quiet. He's been silent on the radio waves for weeks at this point, which for him, given the fact that he has this show, given the fact that he tweeted and whatnot, and he's kind of outspoken, that's kind of, I guess, against his normal behavior, so that would be kind of weird, but Jack Ma is also a pretty decent person, you know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, he recently committed millions of dollars to fighting the coronavirus pandemic, and in the spring, he said that he would give $14.4 million from his foundation toward funding the vaccine development for coronavirus in Wuhan. He then also contributed an additional $2.15 million towards developing a vaccine at the Peter Doherty Institute for Infection and Immunity in Australia, along with globally donating millions of face masks to help prevent the spread of the virus. So a pretty weird situation, and people are kind of, talking about it and freaking out about it because no one really knows what's going on with this whole situation. But I wanted to kind of update you guys and let you know about this because it is kind of weird circumstances. It is a weird situation. So with that being said, though, thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, wondering where Jack Ma is, and signing out.